Happy Father's Day from Mushoku Tensei. I love stuff like this. I gotta be a sick bastard for a second. When anime episodes fall in like a Mother's Day, Father's Day, and it has like a very bad outcome for a mother or father in question, I think it was last year's season of Demon Slayer. Who was it? Was it Genya? It was one of the characters. I think it fell also on Mother's Day or Father's Day. It's just like, it's such a sick... I never know if it's planned or a happy coincidence, but in my head, I'm always gonna believe they do shit like this on purpose, because when you kill freaking Paul on Father's Day, it is a wild experience. There'll always be the people, well, actually, in Japan, it's not Father's Day. It doesn't matter. I watched it on Father's Day. It was released for me on Father's Day. You can't take that away from me. Now, here's the thing. This episode was pain. It absolutely was. Rudy's down a hand. Paul got severed in two. Zenith is in baby mode. Shit ain't good. But at the end of the day, I didn't expect shit to be good. I expected Zenith was already dead. I was, they're like, oh, but someone said she's alive. I don't care. Until I see it, she's dead in my opinion. I expected everyone but Rudy and Roxy to die. Elenice was a little up in the air. I wasn't sure if she might make it, but I was expecting Geese to be the first one to get killed. I thought he was going to get chomped into, that little dwarf. I thought he was gone. Paul, I felt like, had more death flags than anyone for a while. The idea of like when people in Source Readers are like, you're not ready, it's like, okay, you're kind of spoiling it, but I don't really consider in that moment a spoiler because I think a blind man could see that bad shit was going to happen. The turning points never work out well. Turning points are more about the world than Rudy specifically, but when a turning point happens, usually bad shit follows Rudy in his path. And while the way they handled it, because I thought Paul was going to get got after they saved her. I thought after the Hydra or whatever was dealt with, they would save her. A booby trap would then kill him, because initially when you see him handless, I'm like, oh shit, okay, maybe they actually will make it and something worse will happen. Maybe they'll have to fight Zenith. I don't know. Like, she's in a crystal for all I know. Has she become a demon? Who the hell knows? But the way they handled it, I expected a lot of them not to make it. So the fact that most of them did, I actually consider this a W. The reason why it's more of an L is because now, okay, we lose one parent to save another, one that Rudy doesn't even really have a connection with, but she seemingly is back to an infant. Now, either she's completely wiped and that's why she can't talk because she doesn't remember how, but to me it gave me the impression that like she's literally mentally reverted back to a toddler. And that's heartbreaking, man, because what was this all for? You're gonna go home and tell your siblings that dad's dead but mom's back, but mom doesn't even remember you? That shit sucks. But happy Father's Day from this wonderful show. Of course, I have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full length of thoughts and hypes, it's gonna be over there exclusively. So, that fight was fantastic. I'm going to be bold and say this is the best produced episode of this entire show. Now, there are key moments and episodes that are beautifully produced, but it's not simply that the fight itself was insanity. It was the initial retreat that they did really sealed the deal for the production for me. When Paul was pissed off and was lashing out, really the body reactions, the facial animation, it felt like you were watching real people that upset and pissed off. And it was beautiful and very tense to witness. But I did appreciate that retreat because you're used to like, okay, we're stuck in this fight, we have to do it. Okay, magic's not working, we have to adjust on the fly. No, they retreated and regrouped. And I think my favorite part of this episode, which is probably going to be swept under the rug because, oh my god, Paul got cut in half. Oh my god, Rudy lost an arm. Oh my god, Zenith is where the hell she is now, is what Rudy said about his mom. So during the retreat, Paul's basically saying, why are you so calm? Like getting pissed off again. And Rudy is pretty much like, yeah, in his head, I probably am too calm, but at the end of the day, I haven't seen her in 10 years. I don't really have a connection with her. And it's a very blunt thing to say, but it's completely understandable. Had Rudy not reunited with Paul, and like this was his first time, like, okay, yeah, you're technically my dad, I gotta go save mom, but he's not gonna have it. He doesn't have a connection with Zenith. She wasn't really a mother to him, not because she was a bad person, but because a lot of shit happened and he hasn't seen her for over 10 years, right? And here's the thing. If roles were reversed and Paul and Rudy were working together to save Roxy or to save Sylphie, he would probably be visibly upset the same way Paul is. The thing is he has a level head on his shoulders, one, because he needs to, and two, yes, it's my mom, and I want to save her, and I want to help you save her, but I don't have an emotional connection. The entire reason that Paul's death is upsetting and affecting Rudy is because he had much more of a father connection, good and bad, but especially the good in recent days, than he did with a mom connection. Now, of course, I think it hurts him because, well, what the hell was the point of any of this if she can't even speak or remember who she is? But I love that moment because at the end of the day, it's true. Anyone I'm actually related to, sure. You know, if I can help, sure. But yeah, there's different deaths and people that I'm going to be more affected by. And it's a pretty brutal thing for him to admit, but it's like completely realistic. And it doesn't make him come across as like an edgelord, but just, I don't really have a connection with her. I want to help her, of course. And when Paul says this is unfair of a parent to ask, of course it is unfair. Even if it kills you, save her. But it shows the determination because they're more than just father-son. They actually have built a very unique connection that kind of surpasses that. And it was just such an effective way to get into the second round where magic doesn't work unless you're very up close. So the way they start dealing with these heads that can regrow is once they're cut, you smolder them so they can't regenerate. Unfortunately, one of the heads then starts trying to bite off the kind of burn wound so it can regenerate, so it then gets very, very spicy. The initial shot when it looks like Rudy's freezing up because a lot of shit's happening and he gets pushed away, I'm thinking, okay, Paul's dead. We're gonna see him in the mouth. And instead, Rudy then pushes his hand through the eye and then spears that shit. And I'm like, okay, apparently Paul ain't gonna die. And now I'm thinking, okay, once the crystal's all gone, the ice shard, whatever it is, that's when Paul's gonna die. There's gonna be a booby trap, Satan's gonna get unleashed. I don't know, I'm thinking anything. And that did catch me by surprise with how they revealed his death, 100%. Because the entire time I'm thinking and waiting, Geese ain't gonna make it, that dwarf ain't gonna make it, Elenies might not make it, it's up in the air, but Paul definitely ain't gonna make it. And then when it seemingly, like, they all do, it's like, okay, but how? Like, are they gonna be walking out of the cave like, oh, hey wife, here we go, we're walking out, and then his head's gonna get cut off? And instead they revealed it in such a way of him still alive, and instead of a tear, it's the blood dripping into his eyes. But at the end of the day, I don't think Paul's disappointed by his death. I think he's just happy that they defeated that thing and that his wife's gonna... I'm happy that Paul didn't die thinking that his wife can't talk or potentially not remember. And it's just like, the fact that you don't hear dialogue for a bit, it's just the music. The enchantment that he did to, like, he couldn't regrow a full arm, but he did, like, he got, like, that much of his arm back, right? The sick part of me is like, hey, if your dad's not gonna need his left hand, can you cut his left hand off and attach it to you? You know, I mean, I know it's Father's Day, but maybe the son can get a W if you ain't gonna be using that hand. But frick, man, that was insane. The intensity of the animation, I don't know what it is about this season, but whether it's Kaiju number 8, whether it's Mushoku Tensei, people are acting like they're Levi from Attack on Titan, but they don't got maneuver gear, but they don't need maneuver gear because they're just moving that insane. It was beautifully produced, it was emotional, but honestly, yeah, it's better than I was expecting. For weeks now, I've been saying I expect everyone but Rudy and Roxy to die. Granted, there's still time, there's still more episodes. They're gonna be walking home and a giant crab's gonna get them. But frick, I don't know what's gonna happen now. Had they just had Zenith be fine, I think it would have made it too easy, in a weird way, because it's like, both Rudy and Paul were giving Paul death flags for the past couple of episodes, but the reveal of her not talking really, you know how they say don't kick a man when they're down? That's taking a sledgehammer to a man when he's down. He was trying his best to hold on, like, this sucks, but we got the... What was even the point from Rudy's point of view, if this is what he saved? That hurts, and, yeah, that was a 10 out of 10 episode, but happy Father's Day from Mushoku Tensei. But that's all for me. Let me know what you thought on this incredible episode, and how are you spending Father's Day? Because I definitely think Rudy wasn't spending it that well. Let me know down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Mauve, Curso, Jarl Bralkruf, Omar, Jay Vordy, Cephalon Lakota, Mordivore, Sean Cafferkey, and Ryan Cahalili. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.